If you were born in the 50s or earlier, your idea of how to get the news, keep in touch with your friends, and read literature is very different from somebody born in the 80s or 90s. It's often quoted that it's the youth that drive change, and it's the youth who thus push technology. But in these times when change has never been so rapid, it's becoming increasingly more difficult for the older generation to embrace the constant change. What is their future?
YouTube. Right now it is the 6th largest internet destination globally. 57,000 videos are uploaded every minute.
From my generation, I was a very passive consumer of media. Just take TV for example, you know, I had to watch whatever the broadcasters were putting out at a certain time. I had no choice.
A lot of us still remember when it, for example, was much more campfire watching around the TV at a certain time or at night, at prime time.
Fast forward into this generation where you've got the red button. On-demand TV, you can pause TV, you can buy movies and watch them when you want to watch them and pause them and stuff like that. Take them across platforms as well.
You don't have that campfire watching anymore, not at all. That's on demand.
Plus the whole thing now is young people now have the means and mechanisms to produce their own stuff, their own media. And more importantly, they've got the platforms to propagate that out, to distribute it. And they understand that YouTube exists.
One of the reasons is of course the reach. I mean, for example, Barack Obama, you would think that each and everyone knows that it's barackobama.com, that's the URL. But even Barack Obama uploads his videos on YouTube.
YouTube is certainly a phenomenon, and companies and individuals are only just beginning to use this channel. A desire to extend their reach and to earn revenue are the drivers.
What I believe is that people, everyone is always, they believe that they are creative in some way. And finally, it's not up to you to sit there and wait for someone else to create what you want to see. You can create it by your own.
There's that fear factor with adults. In other words, well, it's not my generation. I don't understand it. I'm older now, I got other things to do. And young people, they kind of just got no fear. The arrogance of youth, whatever you want to call it, is great, but they have very little fear. We developed something called the button theory, actually, which is if you give a piece of technology with a button on it to a young person, they'll press it to see what it does. An adult will ask you what it does before they press it. That's why kids are so good online. Whereas adults will just sit there and won't click it until you ask them to click the click here button and tell them it's going to be okay.
Fear is a limiting factor, and the older we get, the more careful we become. But there is also a divide in values. The difference between private information and public information is very much an issue between the different generations. Personal information that younger people think is okay to be public, older people think should be private. It really is a question of analog values versus digital values.
We have to talk about these aspects of it because it's really relevant to believe on, to know, okay, how is this perceived that I have published on the net? How will somebody who is a digital immigrant and more restricted to this whole digital development, how will they look upon my personal, absolutely not private blog posts, but they will see it as private. How will that affect us when somebody from an HR department, everybody Googles everybody today, and how will you handle the party pictures on Facebook or whatever personal stuff you find? that is personal, but it's still not as private for those people that put it on the net as the one from the other generation perceives it as.
Populations are getting older. Older populations with analog values may also find it hard to swallow the developments currently occurring within journalism and media. More and more newspapers and news services are now online, and there are opportunities for anyone with a point of view to contribute to the news via any digital device.
The companies has only started to use the user-generated content, and also all the more traditional media providers, they have only just started.
When I see a newspaper today, I know that I can find most of it also at the website. But there is, of course, a problem with the demographic here, because the older generation, they want the paper, and they want to read the articles in the paper. To keep the older generation, I think you will see a mix in the newspapers with longer articles, more fact-based articles. If the paper should survive, they have to also have the quicker news. A small headline, a little piece of text to bring in the younger generation, because that's the way the younger generation learn how to take in media.
But how will media houses react? Printed readership is down. Online readership is up. Older people want the paper, but newspapers need to move towards online to attract younger readers. Younger readers, however, want it for free.
I think media products will become free for the readers in the future. They have to find other way of getting money to the companies.
We got our youth generation now, which expect interactivity, which also expect that they can create media, they can share it very quickly.
I think the older one will be able to pay for it because they think it's worth it. But I don't think the younger generation will have that moral behavior. They have learned that this is for free, and it's a very, very tricky question.
I mean, the boundaries between what is personal and what is private, they're constantly being moved, and they are being moved for everybody, whether you are a digital immigrant or a digital native.
I think the media houses realize that they will lose some older readers who wants the paper.
This is just only the beginning. Now we have the new technology, we have the mobile broadband, you can be online everywhere, and actually with a very, very speedy technology.
For example, in Britain, almost 10% of the people reads the biggest paper. I don't think they can have those numbers in the future because the material is out there.
There's a great quote by William Gibson that the future here is just unevenly distributed.
Thanks for watching this Telecom Report. If you want more information regarding these topics, then you can check out the articles on this page at ericsson.com/telecomreport. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.